work and so on. Stephen Covey was a friend of mine, Covey actually, his approach was very much congruent with what we're talking about. It's based, he very much believed in what's called win-win, which is, when Getting to Yes first came out, the books on the best-selling books about negotiation had titles like Winning by Intimidation and Looking Out for Number One. I don't know if you remember those, but Getting Yes proposed that, yes, you want to meet, satisfy your interests. The purpose of negotiation is to satisfy your interests, but we're in ongoing relationships, just as you were mentioning with game theory. If you're just playing, the prisoner's dilemma and game theory at just one round, it may be in your interest to just, to defect rather than cooperate. But in any kind of ongoing relationship, be it inside the organization or be it, a long-standing relationship with clients or suppliers or whatever, it makes sense to cooperate. And so, yes, you want to get more for yourself, but one of the best ways of getting more for yourself is actually to expand the pie, to be creative and expand the pie so there's more for you and more for the customer so that there's more for both. What Getting Yes proposes is that kind of is that kind of approach where essentially you look behind positions for what are the underlying needs, what are the underlying interests, your interests, and the other side's interests. You try to invent options for mutual gain. You try to expand the pie. And where there are, serious differences, you make use a lot of what are objective criteria to decide, what's a fair way to divide up the pie. So, for example, let me just, if you wouldn't mind, let's do a 2-minute little negotiation challenge here. If you wouldn't mind, just pick a partner, person sitting right next to you, and let's do a negotiation by email. It'll take 30 seconds. Okay, everyone pick a partner. And just decide who's going to send the email and who's going to receive the email. Okay? So, here's the situation. Let's imagine you two are department heads in the same organization. Let's say maybe it's Google or whatever, but you're not co-located. One of you is here in Cambridge, one of you is there in Mountain View, wherever. And you have a common boss. And this year, the idea has been we've got to cut costs. And so let's say by the end of the year, your common boss comes to both of you and says, look, you guys have done a great job. Everyone's done a great job cutting costs, and I've got a little extra money left in the budget. I don't know, what would be a little bit significant? Would it be like $500,000 or $100,000? What would it be? Give me a number. 500,000. Okay, 500,000 left in the budget. And he says, I don't know how to divide it between your two different departments. You guys decide. So here are the rules, okay? This is silent. Silence done by email, so there's no talking. It's just very simple. The sender, you just take out a piece of paper, or if you don't have a piece of paper, it's fine too, but just come up with 2 numbers, adding up to 500, for your proposal for how to divide up the $500,000. Now, it's not so simple to just say 250 for each, because all your people, that internal table we were talking about, are saying, hey, we need all 500,000, for sales department or whatever it is. We deserve it all. That other team, they don't deserve it. So you're under a lot of pressure from your team to come back with as close to 500 as possible. So you could put down on as if you were emailing, 500 for my department, 0 for yours. You could put down 475 for my department, 25 for yours. 450 for my department, and 50 for yours. There's no creativity. It's just 2 numbers here. That's all you do. It just takes 10 seconds. That's your proposal. Then, those of you who receive that number, or those 2 numbers, you have one decision to make. Very simple. Yes or no. Either you accept it or you reject it. That's it. There's no follow-on negotiation. So if you say yes, you're going to get whatever the other side's proposing. You're going to get the 25, you're going to get the 50,000, you're going to get whatever, the 100,000. If, however, you say no, neither department gets 1 penny, because after the boss has said, look, if you two can't reach agreement, that's okay, I can find another use for the money. So it's very simple, it's just 2 sequential decisions. First person just picks 2 numbers that add up to 500, the second person says yes or no, and then we see the results, okay? Takes 30 seconds. No follow-on negotiation and no talking unless you just have to give me the proposal. Everyone had a chance to go through the exercise? Okay, so it's just 2 sequential decisions. 2 numbers and then yes or no. So I'm curious. How many of you, have you all had a chance to do it? Yeah. How many of you, by curious, said yes, accepted the proposal you were offered? Okay. How many of you said no, rejected the proposal you were offered? Okay, a few of you. So I'm kind of curious. You know, we're curious about why other people reject our proposals. So let's just see if we can learn something here. So Brian, you rejected the proposal given to you by Jonathan, right?
Yes.
What proposal did he make?
375, 125.
375, 125. So 375 for him, 125 for your department, right? And why did you reject it?
125 was close enough to 0 for me that I would.
125. Okay. So you have a very okay. So that's 1. How about there were some others who rejected? What else? Yeah, you sir, you rejected what?
350 to 150.
350 to 150. You rejected one. Fairness. Fairness. Now, see, this is really interesting because you have economically rational decision makers who are being offered a decision between 125,000 and 0, or 150,000 and 0. And what are they picking? 0. Why? Because, as you heard, perceived fairness plays a very important role in negotiation. That it's either people will walk away from proposals, and we're going to be startled because, after all, rationally speaking, it's in their interest to accept. How many of you, for example, accepted a proposal that was less than 250,000? How many of you accepted? Okay, and when you accepted that, how many of you thought to yourself, okay, I'm going to accept this, but I'm going to remember this. Right. So, so that's often happens. How many of you, despite what I said, went ahead and just proposed 250, 250, 50-50 split? Anybody? You did. And why'd you do that?
In the spirit of what you're talking about earlier in terms of freedom.
Yeah.
Is the fastest way to have both parties.
It was fast way to have both parties agree, right? Okay.